Hey everybody, welcome to On the Paint Table. It's my weekly show about what I got done, what I'm working on, and what is coming up. So this week, shifting gears, one model last week, painted 30-something models this week. I got real excited about this week's big pre-release from GW that showed up. It's one of the games I played the most as a young person, and yeah, I painted it up all in about 2 days sittings. Yeah, you'll get to see the paint stuff today. I also did most of my painting this week, actually almost, I'd say 99.9% of my painting using that same mega paint set from Army Painter, which I'm just really enjoying. Being a person that painted miniatures like through the 80s and 90s, the Citadel color range is really like fun to me, and this being almost a homage to the old Citadel range, like the original Citadel range. It just felt really comfy. I like the washes and stuff too. I think there's only one paint I used this week that wasn't from that model, from that mega paint set, which was the Astro Granite I used in the bases of all the miniatures that I painted this week. So yeah, and then I got some upcoming projects, exciting stuff. It's kind of all either related to the project I painted this week or giant robot related, because I got my box set for Gamma Wolves, or my copies for Gamma Wolves come in. A box of author copies, and it means we can start working on some giant robots. And I might even do some tutorials on like building and painting giant robots, just like kit bashing them for the game. We'll see where that lands. But yeah, so let's see what I worked on, what I painted this week, and what is coming up. So here's what got me so excited for painting this week. It is Blood Bowl, the second season. What might be the finest edition of Blood Bowl, like as a box game ever made. You can listen to me gush about it in the rulebook review and the Let's Play that's up today as well, which I'll link in the cards. But I painted all the miniatures that come in this box. And what a pile of miniatures you get. I mean, I grew up, my second ever Games Workshop box game was the, I think, 3rd edition Blood Bowl box. I'd painted some of the toys from the second edition box and had some of the standees from the 1st edition box, but they belonged to friends, older brothers, and this was not my like actual copy. And so getting it for my birthday from my dad, he picked it up on a business trip to England. He got it at the old the venerable Oxford Street store in London. That was one of my first, like, after Titanicus, my first like core GW products I ever owned. And it came with pretty much what you see here. These are actually 2 new teams, but they are in the same theme. You got a human team and an orc and goblin team in that old 3rd edition box. And you got some positional players and lots of cardboard, and you actually see me pull out my copy of it because it was handed back to me at Thanksgiving by my parents. It's sitting in the barn in like a Rubbermaid container. And I painted the mob like fairly badly and played tons of Blood Bowl. So I remember Blood Bowl very fondly, but man, what do you get in this box? You can check out like an overview of the contents in the Let's Play, but you get so much stuff. Positional players for the new human nobility team. Star player, you get Griff Oberwald. You get a big guy for each team, so you get an ogre for the humans, and you get a trained troll for the black orcs. Very ghoul chewer on the black orc side, lots of black orcs, and goblin bruisers. All with like different posability options, and then you even get refs, 2 biased refs. The red card elf and the like red in the face blowing his whistle dwarf. That's just, what a great box. So yeah, so this was all painted up with, like I said, the Army Painter stuff, and that's what I'm going to go over right now. So for the human nobility, I used red gore, gory red, held it up to the like old like warlock purple color. They all have slightly different names. I'm using the GW names because what I remember. And then weapon bronze, held it up to greedy gold for the armor, and strong tone washing all over it. I used oak brown for all the leather, and then tan skin, highlighted up through skeleton beige for like the skin and stuff for most of these, and then just like different variations for skeleton skin, or sorry, skeleton bone for the socks and stuff, and then the strong tone just over everything, blended back up. Just lovely miniatures, tons of character. Like I love that you get the Blood Bowl ogre, who I just think is a fantastic mini. And yeah, I even painted him up by mixing some of that oak brown into the tan skin to give him a little 5 o'clock shadow there, because you know these are Blood Bowl players. They're not shaven for anything. I even gave him a little like black eye there. He's got some purple like underneath his eye there, like he's been punched out, which was super fun to paint. And whoa, geez, and they're all plastic. Like these are all multi-part plastics. Griff has got his medals hanging out with his bird there. So, you know, he's ready to play for whoever pays him the most. And then, of course, the balls and stuff and all the tokens were painted too. I really like the thrower. His pose is just so cocky. He's like, yeah, whatever, come get the ball. He's just getting ready to throw down. And it came with a full decal sheet too, which I used the white human decals on these because they popped off the gold really nicely. I like this guy because he's smoking his pipe, the retainers. You get positional players for the retainers, the bodyguards, the blitzers, the throwers, and then you get your special player, your big guy as well. Then I painted my 2 coaches. So this is the elf coach with his red card, because obviously he's enforcing the rules. And these are just done with ash gray. Yes, it was an ash gray. I mean, I'm not biased at all about that being the greatest gray color of all time, but it might be. And then I love the whistleblowing dwarf doing his call. They're so sweet. All in Roselle's, you know, stripy zebra colors. I repainted the, I'm gonna just call this out. I repainted the clothes on these guys because I actually painted them as zebra stripes originally, but they looked too much like convicts, and I sent a picture to Christian, and he was like, why are the stripes all wrong? And I'm like, because they're not referees, they're wearing zebra skins, because that's what happens in the story. And he's like, just remember, this is one of those times, Ash, where I'm telling you, this doesn't look great. So actually, while we were texting each other, I repainted them all, and he's gonna laugh at this, but it happened. He made me ashamed of myself. And then on the Orc and Goblin side, we got tons of minis. We got the Trained Troll ready to throw a Goblin, which is super awesome. The only thing that slightly bothers me is that the Goblin he's throwing is one of the Goblin Team Plastic Goblins, not the Goblin Bruisers. So he's like dressed slightly differently and doesn't look as tough. Like his head's way smaller. But that's just me being picky. And I painted him up. The one color, and this is the only call I'm going to make about the colors selection for the Mega Paint set. I had to make Shadow Gray. Like I had to make the old Space Wolf color for his skin by blending blues and grays together. But that's because, and then weirdly you get like 5 blues. You get like a whole spectrum of blues, but no like blue gray. And I had to make it. It's the only color missing that I think from that Mega Paint set that I was like, you should just have this. And then these rolled in from black primer. I dry brushed them with dark stone, I think is the color, and then washed them with the they're like black strong. I think it's strong tone. There's dark tone, light tone, strong tone. I think it's strong tone is the black one. Over top of the oak brown for the leather and stuff too, and leather brown for the straps. And then highlight all the skin up. I used the Goblin Green as a base on these. I used like a pine green almost for the base on the Black Orcs, and then highlighted up to Goblin Green. So Goblin Green's like the final highlight here. The final highlight for these guys is like Skeleton Bone mixed with Goblin Green, just to give them like a different skin tone, because obviously the Goblins are not as like scarred up and and like covered in like you know, like whatchamacallit, battle damage as the Black Orcs are. So they're a little like squishier looking. And yeah, and there's variations for everything. Like you don't have like the same goblin here twice. Each of the goblins has a different head. So there's 6 different goblins, and the same with the Black Orcs. Each Black Orc has a different head too, which I thought was really, really, really cool. The only thing I thought was a little bit strange was the totem for the Black Orcs is slightly smaller than the human one. It just feels a little weedy. I don't know why. And of course, Verai Ghoulchewer has an actual ghoul on his back that he's chewing on, which I think is hilarious, like stuck to like this shoulder spike like a snack. And I painted that up with like the Warlock purple, then like washed with the strong tone, then blended back up into some skin tones, just to make him look like rotting and purple and sort of like desiccated up there. But yeah, super fun to paint. I cranked these out over 2 days. Like basically, I think the stuff showed up Tuesday night. I put it all together like that night because I was that jazzed about it after I like flipped through the rulebook while Cat and Cash were eating dinner. And then the next 2 days, basically, I painted a team a day. So I painted the humans first, I painted them on Wednesday, and then Thursday I painted all the Orcs and Goblin stuff, and then this morning I painted the 2 refs. The only thing that's not from that, like I said earlier, not from the Mega Paint set, is the Astro Granite, which is the GW texture paint, the technical paint on the bases. And it's actually like a solid gray, but then I dry brushed it with that ash gray and a little bit of the Mummy Wraps, I think it's called, on the edges. And then the way that you get the cool shadow effects, people are gonna ask about that on these guys, is you take a brown, thin it with lots of water, put a big drop of it in the middle, and then use a clean paintbrush with water and kind of tease it out, and it goes thinner at the edges, and that's how you get that shadow in the middle. So if you're wondering why my Astro Granite has like a bit of brown tone to it and like a shadow effect, that's how I do it. I just I give it like a thin down like paint wash, radiate it from the center, and use the just like wet paintbrush to kind of like drag it out from the middle, and that gives you that nice kind of like faded effect going along the edges and stuff that that gives it like that shadow underneath everybody. And yeah, and they're all done. So they're ready to play. You can watch the Let's Play today and also my rulebook review. This game is just to, if you're gonna jump over there and give you like a kind of highlight reel, this game is a new version of Blood Bowl. And also, like, this box set is like such a level up for what you get, like in the experience, like the players get, that I'm pretty pumped about it. So if you want to watch my review and hear about the changes in the rulebook review, yeah, jump over in the cards and you can check it out. I'm jazzed enough that I want to do at least one more modern team to kind of highlight some of the new teams that are in the rulebook. So I actually unpacked all my stuff from Blitz Bowl because there's actually a team that you can use out of that starter set. And it's an Old World Alliance team. And conveniently, the Old World Alliance team is exactly the models that come in Blitz Bowl Season 2. So you get basically one of each team's positional players and 3 of each team's linemen. So these two, like, all of this is in the squad. I don't have any extra models here or anything I can't use. So you get a thrower, a catcher, a blitzer on the humans, and then 3 linemen. And you get 3 like dwarf linemen, a runner, a troll slayer, and a blitzer. The extra stuff you just kind of like divide between. So what I'm going to do, the reason this is on the paint table again, is I'm actually going to put some red and white markings on the dwarves to kind of tie them together a little bit, but I can still use them apart, you know what I mean? And then I'm going to number everybody using these second set of numbers from my second season box, because you don't get quite the right amount in Blitz Bowl. So I'm going to use these to number everybody. And then I'm going to paint up my Grack and Crumbleberry, because those are the only other players that you get in Old World Alliance. You get up to 2 Halfling Hopefuls. So I can use Crumbleberry as my Halfling Hopeful if I want, or I can just use you guys as a Grack and Crumbleberry too. And you also get another Ogre. You get like an Ogre positional player or a Tree Man, which I think is hilarious. And it's weird, and obviously because the Halfling is included, that's why the Tree Man's like an option. And that's going to give me like a sweet other alternate team to play using all modern miniatures and put me at 3 teams while I'm like getting into this new second season. Because I gotta say, I'm pumped for more Blood Bowl, and I'm getting Owen to paint like the rest of the Snotlings. He didn't use converting Caradron Overgobs and his pump wagons and stuff, so we can try out them. And yeah, we'll have some fun with this. And then look what arrived! My copy Game Wolves. There is a great flip through on War Games Illustrated right now if you want to see a review of it. I'm really hesitant to do a GMG review of my own rulebook. I'm going to do a Let's Play for sure, so people can see how it's played. But I feel like there's something slightly wrong about me doing my own GMG review, so I've linked in the Miniature Wargaming Reviews playlist their review of Gamma Wolves, which I think is actually really comprehensive, and like, thank you for them for doing it, because they point out some stuff that I was really hoping people would notice, and I feel like a third-party review is more valuable. So if you do want to see a GMG review of Gamma Wolves, yeah, go check out the one on War Games Illustrated, because I think it's at least as good as what I would have done, and probably a bit better even. It has some callouts and shoutouts that I think are really cool. And then I actually dug out that box of, I've been saving this stuff up for this to come out, because I want to do some actual like sit down and kit bashes of some of these like Gundam kits into Gamma Wolves. And then fortuitously, look what also showed up, all the new tags for Infinity and for Code 1. So I got my Blue Wolf Mongol Cavalry, my Cutter, my Zeta unit, and my Sphinx to paint up for my factions. And all this stuff is like my Varun obviously can use my new Cutter. I'm stoked for my White Banner to have the Blue Wolf, and then my Zeta for my O12, and the Shavs for my or the Shavs Vasties Sphinx for my Onyx, which is getting bigger and bigger by the day, and I was really enjoying playing actually in N4. And also conveniently showed up in Denver Gamma Wolves, so lots of cool optional robots which could be used for Gamma Wolves. And lots of like stuff coming up because it comes out in 2 weeks for you folks to check out. So you got another on the paint table done and on the books. 30-something models painted this week, and pushing me into God knows how many for the year. Stoked for new Blood Bowl. Stoked for 2 new teams that have never existed before to try out, along with the Old World Alliance, which I've never played because it's relatively new too in the last season. And yeah, tons of exciting giant robot stuff coming for Gamma Wolves. So anyway, big thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for Widgets and Wonders. Till then, I'm Ash. Have a good night. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to support the channel, of course, like and subscribe and hit the little bell below so you get notifications when I post future content. I do post stuff 7 days a week. If you want to support the channel further, you can, of course, buy a t-shirt through Spreadshirts, buy a measuring gauge or objective markers from Death Ray Designs, or, of course, most importantly, there is Patreon. Patreon is what makes all this possible, keeps the lights on, pays for the studio costs, pays for the equipment, model costs, and everything else, and most importantly, puts food in my kids' bellies and a roof over their heads. Big thanks to everyone, past, future, who supported me. I do this stuff because of you guys, and of course, I will continue doing it as long as I can.